And it's as easy as that to light a fire. Don't disturb the fire, it doesn't like being disturbed. Just add to it. Once you've got a good hot fire going, then we start feeding on the main fuel. Now don't bother to cut these, just end feed them on and arrange them like a star. This way they will catch. The fire's burning merrily, we can do all our cooking, we can boil our water. As the fire dies down and we don't need to cook, we just separate these slightly, and this way we're going to conserve our fuel. Now you can see how easy it is to light a fire as long as you follow those 3 basic rules. 1. Collect standing deadwood. 2. Shave it. 3. Keep your matches dry and in a proper container. Now it's all very well when you've got matches, but if you've got no matches, there's other methods we can use. The first one we're going to show is the magnifying glass. Use the glass to intensify the sun's rays. Get as small as dot as possible and direct it onto your tinder. In this case we've got some cotton bud, and also burnt wood is ideal. Another method of lighting a fire is using the flint from the survival tin. Arrange cotton, shave your wood as before, and use your knife, scrape the flint, ignite the cotton, and then put this on top, and away she goes. This is a magnesium block with a flint to the back. In difficult conditions we can shave magnesium off the block, collect them on our tinder, and then use the flint to ignite the magnesium. Now you see how readily that burns. Remember, aircraft are made out of the same material. Another way of lighting fires is using chemicals. Take the potassium permanganate from the survival tin and pour a small pinch of it here. Add a pinch of sugar, mix it together, and we can ignite this using friction, spark or glycerine. It's unlikely that you've got potassium chloride with you like this. However, it is found in some throat tablets. As before, we add a pinch of sugar. Now sugar is the oxidizing agent. We mix it together, and now we can ignite this either by spark, friction or sulfuric acid. We find sulfuric acid in a battery in a vehicle. In this case we're going to use a spark. Now the last chemical we're going to look at is sodium chlorate. Now this is a common weed killer. I'll prepare some here as before, just a pinch of sugar, and we're going to ignite it by spark. As you can see, this burns very fiercely and must be used with extreme caution. It must only be used as an expedient survival technique. Now the next method I'm going to use is equally as dangerous. We're going to use ammunition and pyrotechnics. Now hunters and military personnel will probably have these with them. I'm going to carefully cut through the case and expose the propellant inside. Now we must do this carefully. I'm now going to cut through the wadding. And now I've exposed the powder. We tip some of it out, and this is what I'm going to ignite. Now that burns very fast, so you must be prepared and have your fire prepared. Now we're going to go into pyrotechnics. Now flares contain magnesium, and we'll be foolish to start cutting these in half. So we're going to use another technique. Let's have a look over here. This is a typical distress flare, and when activated it fires a solid block of magnesium at great speed. So to light a fire from it I must do it very carefully. Here I prepared a fireplace with lots of energy absorbing material, and then I'm going to fire the flare into this, and it's going to ignite all the dry brush that I prepared there. As you can see, it's very effective. Most aircraft carry this type of flare gun. We can light a fire with it exactly as we did before, but remember, there's more energy in this cartridge, so we must be very, very careful. Now, we've shown different ways of lighting fires, and when all else fails, we're going to go back to nature. We're going to use the bow drill method, 2 pieces of wood. Let's see how it's done. These are the components for the bow drill. We have the bow, cotton bandage, the baseboard, spindle and top board. What I've got to do first is to prepare the baseboard for the spindle. I take my knife and I make it flat. I make a slight indentation so the spindle can rotate in it. Now, the principle behind this is the basewood is soft and the spindle is hard. So once we located it in its socket and rotated it with the drill, the hardwood, it grinds away to the softwood, and it's important to cut this keyway in to collect the very fine tinder that is generated. The more pressure we put on the bow, this starts glowing just like a cigarette end. We transfer it to our tinder, and then by blowing we get a flame. Now, as you can see, that took a lot of time, and you must practice it. Let me give you a few more tips on lighting the fire. Remember, in the survival kit we carry a candle. Now, when you light a match, always light your candle first, whether you're going to light a cigarette, your stove, or start a fire. And what we do, we use this under the fire. As soon as it starts going, we recover the candle, put it out, and we only use a small piece of it. Now, we can take pine resin and make a candle. It burns exactly the same, and is an excellent way of lighting the fire. Now, a piece this size will burn for about 20 minutes. Knowing how to light a fire is not enough. We must practice it. We must be confident before we find ourselves in a survival situation that we can light a fire. Remember, now we've got a shelter, we've got a fire, we are protected. The next thing we've got to worry about is being found.
Lofty, you made starting a fire with a flint and steel look so easy. How did you do that?
Steve, it really is easy, even when wet. Okay, using a striker for a downward movement like so. Have a go. I'm sure you do it.
Think I can do this, huh?
Get some cotton wool.
Okay. Let's get the right side there. Let's do it. We'll try it again here.
Yep. There you go.
And there we go. And we got fire.
It's as easy as that.
Okay. Okay. Let's do it. We'll try it again here.
Yep. There you go.
And there we go. And we got fire.
It's as easy as that.
Okay. Okay. Now, you said also not to cut into the magnesium flare. What was that about?
Okay, this type of aerial flare, there's a rocket motor here and there's a magnesium block here. Now, cutting into it could cause friction and it could go off, causing serious injury and burns. Also, if you fire this on anything that's solid, it will bounce back, again causing injury. So when we lit the fire from it, we dug a hole, we lined it with energy absorbing material like dry leaves and grasses, put all our tinder at the back, prepared our fireplace, and when we fire this into it, we look away, the ball of magnesium goes out, ignites our tinder, it starts the fire. If it hits anything solid, it will bounce back and can cause serious injury. So never cut into your flare, and prepare your fireplace carefully if you're going to use this to light a fire.
Okay. You also mentioned starting a fire with a flashlight.
Right. Okay, this is the flashlight we used. If you go back to the field, we'll show you how we done it.
Okay.
You can use your flashlight to start a fire. Now, a useful tip is at the base of the flashlight, carry 4-0 steel wool and spare bulbs. Also, keep the last battery around the wrong way. This way the torch won't go off accidentally in your pack. Turn it round to use it. And the way I'm going to light a fire using the torch is I remove the reflector, and across the two terminals I'm going to short circuit the battery using the steel wool. Prepare the fire, bridge the terminal with a wire wool, and add some of your chemicals to the side. Then turn on the torch, and that's how easy it is.